This week's Developer Roundup focuses on practical workflows you can apply today. Validation layers for AI pipelines, code as documentation for SQL, how Dart implements coroutine-like patterns, and a clearer NGINX mental model. I'll show what changed, why it matters, and what to try this sprint. Community posts this week emphasized converting prototypes into dependable code. One post shows a CSV importer using Google Gemini with a backend validation step before import. Another describes SQLazy, a workflow DSL that makes SQL self-descriptive. There's a Dart post on async, generators, and isolates, and an NGINX explainer revisits workers and location precedents. The clearest practical change is adding an explicit validation step around AI outputs. GrowEasy's pipeline is CSV parsing, AI column mapping using Google Gemini, validation layer, CRM import, results report. Validation verifies required fields, email and phone presence, allowed values and formats, and flags invalid AI outputs. SQL often buries business intent inside nested window functions. SQLazy proposes writing a readable workflow instead. Each step is an atomic action. Sort, compute helper values, segment, summarize. The workflow is the spec. A compiler generates SQL for different dialects. Edit the workflow to change behavior, not the generated SQL. Dart does not have a coroutine keyword, but async and await implement equivalent behavior. Async await becomes a state machine. Dart's event loop has a microtask queue and an event queue. Use generators for coroutine-like, frame-by-frame work. Use isolates and the compute helper for heavy CPU tasks. Prefer cooperative suspension for logic and isolates for parallel compute. NGINX runs a master plus worker processes. One worker uses a non-blocking event loop to handle many connections. The theoretical ceiling is worker processes times worker connections. As an example, 8 cores with 1024 connections each is about 8,000 connections. Location precedence matters. Exact, then hyperzen, then regex, then prefixes. Set proxy set header, so backend apps see the original client and scheme. Local AI stacks reduce third-party exposure, but require orchestration and enforcement. SQLang is designed for structured generation and high throughput. Olares can intercept tool calls and validate them against policies. The author reports SQLang is often faster for structured generation because of routing and radix attention. VLLM may be competitive for simple text tasks. Benchmark for your use case, enforce schemas, and add rate limits and audits. Practical how-tos appeared this week. A Python environment guide recommends Python 3.10 or higher, use a per-project virtual environment, and capture dependencies in requirements.txt. A finance tracker uses Python and SQLite with parameterized queries to prevent SQL injection. Selenium supports major browsers and CI integrations. Neighbor Help shows real-time location and Socket.io chat for prototyping. Every pattern brings trade-offs. Validation layers add latency and operational complexity and require good error reporting. Workflow compilers move complexity into the DSL and compiler dependency. Dart's cooperative model still blocks on long synchronous tasks unless you use isolates. Local AI reduces third-party exposure, but needs orchestration, rate limiting, and audits to avoid data leakage. A studio checkpoint advises turning documentation into a playable slice. It estimates a possible campaign launch in approximately 9 to 12 months, conditional on production evidence. For product teams, make small testable implementations to validate assumptions fast. Bottom line, reduce uncertainty with explicit patterns. Add a validation layer around any LLM-generated structured output. Consider a workflow-first approach for complex SQL. Use generators for coroutine-like flows in Flutter and isolates for heavy compute. Treat NGINX as event-driven and memorize location precedents. You'll find the sources in the description. They include posts on AI CSV validation, SQLazy, Flutter coroutines, NGINX, local AI stacks, Python environments, SQLite, Selenium, Neighbor Help, the Studio Checkpoint, and Smart Traffic Systems. Check the description for links.